All right, let's call this meeting to order. This is a Doraville City Council meeting being held on Wednesday, December 17th at 6 p.m. at the temporary Doraville City Hall. I'd like to ask everyone in the room right now to please turn off your cell phones if they're not already turned off. Doraville is proud to be a city of civility. While differences of opinion are natural, let us approach each other with open minds, speak with courtesy, and treat one another with dignity and respect. Respect is the foundation of good governance, and we thank you for upholding the spirit of civility with us. I will call the roll. Mayor Geierman, I'm here. Councilmember Simmons?
Here.
Councilmember Kuntz?
Here.
Councilmember Ray?
Here.
Councilmember Armistead? Councilmember Evans?
Here.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. I'd like to ask everyone in the room to please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, we just have one presentation tonight, and I'd actually like to ask Councilmember Kuntz to come down and join me. Right. So I typically use honorifics when I speak about council members and I'm in a public setting like this. However, right now I'm going to call you Steffi if you're okay with that, because I think that's how most people in our community think of you and how we personally address each other. It's also a matter of my relationship with Steffi is bigger than just the 8 years we've served together for the city of Doraville. I actually first, kind of met Steffi when I was about 20 years ago, when it's much younger and more hot-headed, and had a blog about Doraville politics. She was a frequent commentator and would tell me when she thought I was full of it, and sometimes she may have been right. And what I respected then, and I've continued to respect, is how engaged she was in Doraville and how much she cared about the city. I've seen that again and again in every time that I've gotten to know you through some involvement that I've had with the city. You were an active member of the Doraville Kiwanis Club. You were an administrator at a local church. When I was president of the Northwoods Area Neighborhood Association, you always would open the doors to us and be willing to engage with us as part of the community. And I really appreciated that. I'm mentioning this time before Steffi was a member of City Council to illustrate this fundamental truth that she has always cared deeply about Doraville. She was always willing to jump in and put the significant force of her will, which I think if you know her, you will understand what I'm talking about, behind the projects that she supported. We both served together on the 2016 Comprehensive Plan Committee. And what I realized then was that she was as captured by the vision of what Doraville could be as I was. That's why I wasn't surprised when she qualified to run for council in 2017, the same year I qualified for my own seat. And I think at least part of the reason both of us ran was because of that vision that had been developed there. I also just want to touch on the fact that Steffi's decision to run for office was an act of extraordinary courage. She'd already lived many years in this community and had gone through a challenge of transitioning within this community as the same person. And I think to make the choice to run for office, to put her name on a ballot, to knock on doors, and subject herself to sometimes very prejudiced and bigoted comments, I think speaks to a bravery that I admire. I'll also say, you know, I was out campaigning that year. I worked very hard in that race, but I saw Steffi working. I don't think anyone worked as hard as she did. You know, she won by 7 votes, which 6 votes.
6 votes.
6 votes. And I think we're all lucky that we did. The victory was historic, making her the first openly transgender person elected to public office in the state of Georgia. The fact that she did not face any challenges during her reelection 4 years later just speaks volumes about the trust and respect she has earned in our community. Steffi's impact is undeniable and historic. Because of Steffi, Doraville passed a non-discrimination ordinance that became a model for other communities across Georgia. Something that I am very proud that I sat on the council that helped pass that, but she was definitely the voice that that pushed and has had ripple effects across our state. Because of Steffi, Doraville has truly become a home for the arts, with an arts commission, a public murals, and a broader support for artistic endeavor than at any time in its history. And most of you probably don't understand how big that is, because like even when we first joined city council, people weren't even allowed to put up like a Chinese lantern in a shopping center without being accused of violating our speech ordinances. With Steffi's help, Doraville now has a zoning map that aligns with and supports its comprehensive plan. I also want to state that we wouldn't be where we are right now with the downtown redevelopment without her significant involvement in pushing to get that done and making sure that it was a priority, and sometimes whipping votes from other council members. And, you know, finally, I think just kind of statewide, I look at the time before she was elected to city council, and Doraville had built almost no housing in the previous 40 years. I was counting the number of units that have come up since that election in 2018. And we've seen more than 1,000 units of housing come online in the city of Doraville, which I think is a huge achievement. Steffi, it has been a profound honor to serve Doraville with you. Thank you for your decades of effort and passion for our city. On behalf of myself and the entire council, I would like you to please accept this, and I'm going to open it up so that Legacy of Service Award.
Wow.
So
Check that out. Is it?
that would like. And actually, before I let you talk,
Yes.
Representative Longtran also wanted to present to you, so I'm going
Okay.
to step aside and let him take over.
So the mayor pretty much covered everything I wanted to say. But I will add that you were such an inspiration and a model for me to follow as an elected official. And you have given me so much insight to Doraville that has been invaluable. So I thank you for that. The first I'd like to present you is a resolution from the Georgia legislature commending you for your outstanding public service to our state and all the sacrifices you've made to your community. The second is on behalf of our Secretary of State. It is one of the highest honors we can present to a Georgia citizen. It's called the Outstanding Georgia Citizen. May this outstanding citizen be afforded every courtesy as a goodwill ambassador from Georgia in her travels to other states, to nations beyond the borders of the United States of America, or wherever she may hereafter travel or reside. Thank you for your service to our state.
Thank you so much. And I forget to speak in the microphone. Honestly, this wouldn't have been possible without the people and friends that I've met along the way. Everybody from the people that are on the dais here, future, previous council people, the mayor, Mr. Patrick back here, and just the relationships that I've built across the whole region have been just, including the CEO here that just stepped in. We've been a good friend. We were in leadership cab together, and yeah, and we've been best buds. And I was so happy to see you get elected. But being able to just talk frankly with all these folks. I'm gonna actually call out Mr. Patrick back here. I mean, we've had some phone conversations where it ended with the F-bomb and I hung up the phone. And and then the next day we're able to continue the conversation. And he understood my short fuse that I have at times, that it's short-lived, but it's like we understand how to navigate each other, and we've learned our personalities and how to work together. And that's how a community grows and becomes better. And the relationships that I've built with all of you guys, we haven't always agreed, and that's a good thing. You don't want a bunch of like-minded people governing. That's why we don't have dictatorships. We have multiple people making decisions and working together, because the best decision is always somewhere in the middle. And I feel like it's something that's got lost in our government over the last decade or so, that this whole idea that there's no compromise, that compromise is somehow a weakness, and it's not. Compromise is like, it's what makes it work. And that's what our whole government was based on, was having different people from different walks of life sitting down at a table and maybe cussing each other out sometimes. But at the end of the day, coming up with a decision that's the best for the people that we serve. And I just feel super honored to have gotten these awards tonight, the recognition, the people that came out from Peachtree City, and not Peachtree City, Peachtree Corners, and from all the folks at GMA, the Georgia Municipal Association's been huge. And just what I've learned, going to their conventions, meeting people from all across the state, because none of these problems that we're facing are new. Somebody somewhere's worked on this and found a good solution. And so, anyway, I wish all of you, including Councilmember-elect Nasser, the best. I'm gonna, do what I can to support you and let these people take it from here. And I feel like that I have left the city in a better place than when I got elected. So thank you all for being here tonight. And I'm gonna grab all my awards.
We're going to take a 2-minute break and allow the council member to take a few photos if she wants. And
Would you like to say anything?
Madam CEO.
I'm not gonna miss out on another award.
Listen,
Like,
well, let me say that, Steffi and I just don't know how we came about.
I don't either.
But ever since we met each other, we have just simply been friends. And I can remember when I ran for office, and after winning, I reached out to you to stand with me and speak on my behalf. And I want to say that Doraville is better because of Steffi. The times that I've seen you in an uproar, it's simply because of being passionate. And, today we have too few people who are passionate, who are willing to fight, and who have a voice and honestly will stand. And you've always been that person. And I remember when you told me you wouldn't be running for council again. And I don't know what that means, but I know that you won't be far because you have brought so much to so many people. And I love you because you are authentically you. And that is also rare. So I took the time to write a proclamation for you because you deserve it for the service that you've given. And I look forward to supporting you as you move forward because it's that season. I just left a retirement event for Benita Ransom in DeKalb, but I'm just going to read this for you all. And it reads, whereas Steffi Kuntz is a distinguished public servant, business owner, and community leader who has made history as the first openly transgender elected official in the southeastern United States. Following her election to the Doraville City Council in November 2017 and her re-election to a second term in 2021. And whereas as a member of the Doraville City Council, representing District 2, Post 1, Steffi Kuntz ran on and fulfilled a vision of responsible growth, inclusive development, and a more welcoming community for all residents, helping guide meaningful progress throughout the city. And whereas in 2018, Steffi Kuntz authored and sponsored Doraville's non-discrimination ordinance, making Doraville only the second city in Georgia to enact such protections. And her leadership has since influenced similar ordinances adopted by numerous municipalities across the state, including DeKalb County. And whereas Steffi Kuntz has been widely recognized for her advocacy and leadership, including receiving the Allen Thornwell Political Advancement Award from Georgia Equity in 2019, and honors from the Atlanta Business Chronicle and the Stonewall Bar Association for her promotion of inclusive and equitable public policy. And whereas throughout her tenure on the city council, Steffi has been recognized as a catalyst for positive change, successfully introducing dozens of ordinances and code updates and championing the city of Doraville's 25-year comprehensive plan by advancing zoning reforms aligned with the city's long-term vision for sustainable growth. Now, therefore, I, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, the Chief Executive Officer, on behalf of DeKalb County's more than 780,000 citizens, do hereby recognize and commend my friend Steffi Kuntz for her historic leadership, her dedicated public service, and unwavering commitment to equity, inclusion, and the betterment of the city of Doraville and the greater DeKalb community. Proclaimed this 17th day of December 2025. No, thank you.
A picture here.
Oh, okay. And also let me say to the newly elected councilman that we are very proud of you, that I look forward to working with you. I know your heart. We've spoken, we've gotten to know each other. And to the entire council of Doraville, I'm just excited about DeKalb and working with each one of you. And Steffi, I don't know what's next, but I love you and I'm going to support you. We have a big race and I know you're ready. 2026 is the year. So we have work to do. And thank you. And also to my colleague, Robert Patrick, it's good to see you here this evening to support.
All right. Now we will take a 2-minute break, and if anyone wishes to leave, they can. Otherwise, we'll get started with public comment after that.
Can we get some pictures with the, yeah, sure, I got it. There we go. Back out. Ready to squeeze in just a little bit more for me? Perfect. Yeah, we're friends. We love each other. Great. Nice. That looks great. Thank you. Yeah. Where's it in there? Right. Yeah, actually. Yeah, logo in there.
Oh, it's 6:30. We're just
Yeah.
getting started.
See what public comment is like.
I took up too much of the meeting. Come back tomorrow.
Adjourn until next year. All right, let's call the meeting back to order. Next up, we have public comment. I'd like to invite anyone in the chambers who wishes to make public comment to come up to the podium. You can have up to a total of 3 minutes to speak. Just state your name and where you live. You can also use the raise hand function in Zoom. I can't see the Zoom, so I have to rely on the. I don't see any hands raised, so we are going to close public comment. And I will ask council if anyone would like to make a motion regarding the consent agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, next up, we have Gary Sobel from Kaufman Capital to give us a city center update.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Councilmember Kuntz, I want to congratulate you on just amazing run on council. Your vision for Doraville, we lived it. So thank you for your leadership.
I remember the first time we met, like we said, at Mozart Bakery.
But anyway, as we come to the end of the year, I wanted to take a minute and just give a high-level update on where we are with the city center. Most of this will probably be just repeating what most of council knows, but for those who are listening in and are not up to speed, let me give a quick update. There's a lot of moving pieces, and the coordination effort to take place the last 5 or 6 months is it's a little more art than science. It's some things happen sequentially, some things happen, really in parallel. Environmental remediation at the city center has been completed. 2 areas had to be addressed with the removal of certain amount of soil. Grading can't move forward until that is finalized. Based on our council's opinion and recommendation, we're done with the environmental remediation. That's off the table and we can proceed. We've done advanced geotechnical exploration and final review, required the buildings to come down to make sure that if we needed to get under the pads to do further exploration, we will have that final report, as they told me today, by the end of the week. Grading plans have been finalized by the architect and the engineering group, which will in turn balance the site, moving dirt around from the high levels and the low levels. Balancing a site is part and parcel to what you do on a project like this, especially one with such significant topography. The coordination also required looking at the conceptual development plans for the former City Hall site, just to ensure that the condition the property's left in would not be negative and wouldn't negatively impact that development. It required a lot of parties to come together and work through this process. And at this time, we are estimating a significant amount of dirt being relocated from the former City Hall site, the High Point, across the street to where the police station is. Moving this amount of dirt also reduces the necessity of importing dirt to the site, which will also help us keep costs down. The geotech reports may determine if any adjustments need to be made, but we'll evaluate that as we get to that stage in the next few weeks. Demolition. As all of you know, we celebrated the official groundbreaking on September 27th with the ceremonial demolition of the the old City Hall at 3725 Park. The removal of all debris was completed in the third week in November, leading right into Thanksgiving. Choate, our general contractor, notified the city of Doraville it completed its demolition efforts on November 21. The land disturbance permit is the next point in the process that is required to move the dirt around. At this time, the land disturbance permit application is in process for review and approval at DeKalb for water, sewer, and fire rescue. Watershed Management looks at the water sewer concerns, while the Fire Rescue Department looks at life safety and fire access. This is all part of the process. In summary, the review is about the infrastructure, the safety, the water, the sewer, the drainage, and emergency access. Our team is working closely with DeKalb to complete the review and approval process as soon as possible, and it's our hope to begin that site grading in January. Of note, DeKalb has been a tremendous partner with us on this and working closely with us on every step of the way. At this point, the site is, we'll call it on pause as we await the land disturbance permit. That's not unusual. Once the city relocated from City Hall, police, courts, library, and all the buildings, the decision was made to accelerate the demolition efforts to reduce any concerns for safety, security, crime, or maintenance on the site. That comes with empty buildings, so the buildings came down. This was done in advance of receiving an LDP. So in this instance, it's not unusual to have this temporary pause on the site while we wait on the LDP. The goal for us is minimize this pause. In line with waiting on the approved LDP, our general contractors provided the city of Doraville with what they term a demobilization notice, which is just a required formality in the contract since they're not active on the site. It should be noted that there is a fee during the demobilization, and we're discussing with them the amount of the fee, and we've requested backup. The city has responded to that notice, and we will evaluate that, and the city will get back to us when we have answers. This, again, is not unusual. And the contingency in the project budget is built to handle these kind of costs and any small delays. Choate has made it clear that once they are notified of the approved LDP, they're prepared to be back on site, begin grading. And it's also important to note that Choate is still very much engaged on this project in numerous areas, not the least of which is pricing. Their team is fully engaged in that respect. With respect to pricing, we've received our latest revised pricing on the project, and it's above our budget, but this is not unusual. The pricing covers infrastructure, the People's Building, the outdoor area, and the green space. Through the design process, our architect and landscape group, as you well know, looked at all areas and collected everyone's wish list of items to consider what we can do to make this special. As we move forward, we're in a process called value engineering. Normal course of business, there's a real term for this, to sit down, put the heads together, and figure out what areas can we pull back on from some of the wish list items. This is typical of most projects in my 40 years of doing this, 39 actually, and especially one with a complex set of features that we are addressing. Both the contractor and the architectural team have prepared a list of items for us to review that gets us back in budget. And we're currently reviewing that list, and we'll make a recommendation to council in January of the areas that we think we should all pull back on a little bit. The goal is to provide the city center development with the same level of quality, excitement, and vibrancy that we've talked about, that the pictures are showing, but this is part of the process of value engineering. Of note, we are awaiting some pricing on the recommended revision to the chambers, the council chambers, and other items. And once the pricing is presented to us, we will evaluate them as well. Given what we've seen from recommendations from Choate, our general contractor, MPS, and the architectural team, along with our construction management group at DC of Georgia, we are very confident we will bring this project into budget. This is just part of the value engineering process. We are all hands on deck to ensure we bring the project to the table as we promised and still provide the level of finish and amenities to make Doraville City Center unique. With that, if there's any questions, that's a high-level update.
All right. Why don't we start with Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, thank you for the update. No real questions. Just, I know it's pretty hard to project at this point end date, but is there a project timeline or Gantt chart that could be shared at some point for us to get an idea of next steps and when we think each step in the process is going to get started?
We will adjust that. We will get Choate to adjust their Gantt chart. The expectation all along has been once the actual horizontal development, which is the moving of dirt, the beginning of the infrastructure. Choate's always been in the mindset. We're talking roughly 14 months of development. I would prefer to defer to Choate as the contractor who will have the team on site to give us that Gantt chart, and we'll report back to you at the next meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's 14 months from once you get the LDP and they can start leveling.
Correct. That's the estimation, and if they can move faster, rest assured they will.
Councilmember Simmons?
Thanks, Mayor. That's pretty fast. I like that. On the 14 months. Two things. Can we see that list for value engineering? Because you said you were going to go over it, look at it, and then make the recommendations, then present that to us. Can we see the list to see what the options are, or should we stay out of that? Well, sorry, that question was for you, but can we see that list?
So I'm going to, in essence, defer that to the interim city
Okay.
manager, chief, that they will make that available to you, but
Okay,
something.
that's fine.
I
That'll
think
work.
that's something that the council can ask the city manager for, and I think it's
All right.
appropriate for you all to see what the things are. So Chief, we'll
Perfect.
we can talk about that when it's available. It's not.
That's fine. Okay. Sorry, that one was for you, Chief. And then just to confirm, like this horizontal dirt, just so everyone understands, this horizontal dirt movement is not happening until plans and the plans are pretty much confirmed, right? Or are they going to start before?
Grading plans are already completed.
Okay.
So the moment we get the LDP
Mhm.
approved, Choate has promised that they will remobilize the team in very short order, within a few weeks or less, and get back on site and move the dirt around. So we don't have to wait for all the pricing to start the grading.
Right,
The grading has to happen.
right.
We have a plan for that, and that's part and parcel to the inside the LDP.
And the LDP, it's on us to,
The LDP is
Approved.
sitting with
DeKalb.
DeKalb County right now. They are in process of review. It was formally accepted into their queue in the last several weeks. And as soon as DeKalb, and I gotta say, DeKalb has been incredibly responsive. There were a lot of moving pieces on a project of this measure, which includes, all the components we all want to see on there, not the least of which is public-private. But DeKalb has it, DeKalb's reviewing it, and we're pushing.
perfect. I wish Madam CEO was still here to hear that one. Thanks.
I actually thanked her. She was here.
I've talked to people in her office multiple times to just make sure that they're moving it along, and I know they are. Before you get to Councilmember Armistead, I guess just to follow up on something that Councilmember Simmons said. 14 months is a pretty fast timeline, but you all were also kind of encouraging us to kind of make final decisions on the public building.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that needs to be done to meet that timeline, right? I think that kind of gets to what he was saying. So really, ideally, when do you want any of the final outstanding, bathroom, whatever?
We'd like to resolve all that in January.
Okay.
Okay.
I won't speak ahead of term, but I know that Chief will probably echo that.
Yeah.
Just want to
We're
set
ready
the
to bring that to the
expectation.
table.
Yeah.
Yes, we would like to bring that to you in January and get that final approval for the interiors like we have for the exterior and the green space. So look for that to come in January.
I do think it will be helpful for the council to see, okay, what are the what cost are we trying to get to? What are the costs of these things? And then, just then it's a matter of what do you care the most about and where do we need to spend the money? So getting that information is going to be important.
Can they just do like a base price and add alternates, right? That's sort of the best way to show it to us, I believe. Yeah, just tell Choate that. That's the best way.
Provide a schedule. I didn't want to speak for chief, but we will provide a schedule to all of council to look at, to rank it, and come to a conclusion so that we can move this forward and get final decisions in January.
Great. Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. That was my question too. So no more questions. Thank you for the update.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, you thank, pardon me. Thank you for the update. You know, value engineering is obviously it's every building goes through it, every project goes through it. But a high level project brings a high level tenant and a high level product and a high level programming. And I think the council and your team and McMillan, Pasden Smith and Site Dev, all of these guys, they worked really hard to bring a very high level project, and it set the tone, it set the bar really high. And I don't want to risk losing that feel. And so I just, I caution the council, we get to build this once. And so in my years of experience, rarely do you find people who are happy with all of the value engineering decisions they've made. Sometimes your hand is forced, but I would just caution that let's not devalue the project based on small numbers, because I think what the city is getting for the money that's being put into it is massively greater than all of the other downtown developments that we've had in neighboring cities. If you're here, sorry. But I think that the team has worked really hard to deliver a really high-end product at a very reasonable price. So, and I don't know the numbers. I'm just, but it's going off of gut feeling is that if we have to push our budget and value engineer at the same time and meet somewhere in the middle, that's a better thing than just slashing and cutting and delivering a subpar product. That's my 2 cents on it. So thank you for the update. Looking forward to January.
Thank you. Councilmember Evans?
Thank you for the presentation. My one question is on the outdoor landscaping with the city building, particularly the Legacy Walk path. Has there been an adjustment to make room for that regarding the brick pavers that people can purchase with their naming on it? Just want to make sure that's part of the adjustment as well.
So the team at MPS is well aware, and these are notes and things that we're evaluating. But yes, we heard the desire loud and clear, and they understand that they're provisioning for it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kuntz?
Yeah, my comment on this too is, and I'm not going to be here in January to make this decision, but my recommendation would be, let's make sure that we've got the basics in the right places, like that we're putting walls where they need to be, we're building, structures like the dais or wherever we need to be. And if you have to do some value engineering of like, we're going to have to put a drywall and paint behind the dais for now, when city has some money in the future, they could buy the paneling, or we can buy the marble to go around the edge of the room, or the things that you can update and remodel in the future should be the things that we cut, and not things that are structural and like kind of foundational to the use of the building, because that's the stuff that you can't change. And so to me, that's where we don't want to cut cost, is things that make the building functional and usable, because while, some really pretty fancy tile does look nice when the building's first open, that's, buildings get updated and they can be, some more money can be spent in the future and, on the appearance kind of things where the functionality can't. So that would just be mine. And the outdoor, to me, the outside of it is important. What it looks like, I would hate to skimp on that really beautiful organic look that the building has, saying, well, we can't put these kind of oval windows because they're more expensive and we're going to make it look like a prison. Like, let's don't do that.
Great comments, and I will be relaying those tomorrow in our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate it.
All right. Now on to new business. And first item is CUP 2507. I think someone from the planning department is going to present this.
Got unfinished business?
Oh, sorry.
Like, that's an item, don't skip it.
We have an item of unfinished business first.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this is an agenda item that's coming forward based upon some comments made in a previous meeting about parking ordinances and doing some modifications about the definitions of commercial vehicles. We've prepared an ordinance to make the changes very simple. We changed the weight to reach a commercial vehicle weight to be 10,001 pounds. You'll see that on page 2, number 1. That is consistent with other laws as well. It brings us sort of into line with that. The second is in defining a commercial vehicle. It also basically just limits it for trailers to be single axle. It's single axle vehicles. I think the feedback from code is that was very easy to enforce. Previously, we had a length and height and some things that were difficult to deal with in the field. So with these two changes, I think we've gotten the suggestions of council in the ordinance, and I'm more than happy to take any questions.
All right, Councilmember Kuntz, is there anything you want to add?
No, just that this was, aligning the commercial vehicle in Doraville to what state law is. And then the vast majority of complaints we get about trailers or double axle trailers, all these dump trailers and trailers with garbage all over, scrap metal and stuff. This is going to clean the city of all those. And so I thought it was a tool to give code enforcement just to make this a whole lot easier for them to enforce. And it's easy for residents to be able to see if it's got one wheel on the side of the trailer, it's a single axle trailer, it's allowed. If it's got two wheels, call code enforcement. It makes it very simple.
All right, any other comments over here? We talked about this a fair amount. Councilmember Henshaw?
Just that, simple and easily enforceable rules are the best rules. So it would seem. So, I appreciate you getting this cleared up.
Anyone over here want to make a comment? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending chapter 19, article 3, section 19-63 relating to motorized and non-motorized commercial vehicles as laid out in the packet.
I second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I will call the roll. Councilmember Kuntz?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead?
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yes.
Councilmember Ray?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, now we're on CUP 2507. It looks like Austin's going to present it.
Right. All right, so the first case tonight is CUP 2507, and this is a bit of an unusual one. It's not a new request for a CUP. It's a request to amend some conditions that were placed on a property as part of a previous conditional use permit application. So the property or the business in question is Wind Club, located at 5090 Beaufort Highway. And their request to council is they're wanting to amend two conditions that were put on the property back in 2023 when the conditional use permit was placed on or granted to the property for a billiards hall. So there are 6 conditions that were put on the property, which I'll put up here in a minute. But the two that they're requesting to amend are they were restricted in their alcohol license to only selling wine and beer. And then they were restricted to closing at midnight as opposed to 2 a.m., which is what the typical closing time for our alcohol ordinance. So here's the location going south on Beaufort Highway, almost to Shallowford Road. They are on the second floor of the shopping center here. Here is the floor plan that was submitted previously to the city. There's actually only 4 tables in there, not 5. Here are the 6 conditions that were put on the property. I won't read through all of them, but like I said, the 2 that they're wanting to amend or requesting that council amend are the condition requiring them to close at midnight and the restriction on only having beer and wine sales, no beer or spirits. Here's some photos from what the property looks like on the inside. These are new. These have been taken since the property is open. Staff are recommending denial on this. The reason that we're recommending denial is, the conditions were placed on the property based on the business plan and the manners of operation that was brought to you back in 2023. The conditions that were placed on there were based on that by council, and the operations of the business or the manner of the business has not substantially changed at all since it has opened in 2023 or 2024. So that's why I'm recommending denial. Planning Commission concurred and recommended denial as well. The applicant is here if you have any questions for them. That's all I got.
All right. Is there anyone from the applicant who'd like to say a few things?
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. So Billy is the owner, of Win Club and Dogwood Rice Noodle downstairs. My name is Sean Wins. Basically help manage the Win Club. So the reason, he wants to get a reamendment is because of, we only, of course, beer and wine only, but, the whole concept of the billiards hall is really just to kind of create an atmosphere, just like, TV show Cheers. Everybody knows their name, everybody come and gather and play pool and kind of meet up and just have a good time. So with the limitation of without the liquor, because of the location of from 285, 85 and MARTA, we do have customers that do come from the airport come out to enjoy the venue. And then of course, with it being so close to the facilities of everything, it's just that we're sort of, I wouldn't say lose business because when players do come, they try and play for a few hours. Otherwise, right now they're going to like to Chamblee, to Mr. Q's, go to Norcross, to Tony's, and just different areas. And growing up in Doraville, just like we're trying to keep everything here. And then because also like, with Billy, the owner of Dogwood, he does a lot of volunteer things for the city as well, even for myself. It's just that we want to request for the liquor to get, bring in, of course, the revenue for him as well, and then also allowing to open till 2 o'clock. So when, people from after work coming in, they want to just kind of enjoy and just kind of stay a little bit longer, but we have to kind of limit the time frame for them. And we do understand, like, of course, the hours and trying to, save purposes and that, but it's just really trying to create an environment for people to enjoy the billiards hall, enjoy the city as well when they do come in through, out of town, out of state, out of country as well, because we do have a lot of people from out of country that do stop by and just kind of enjoy it, but we have to limit them on certain things. So it's just an opportunity to showcase that, hey, if we have this liquor license opening too, we could kind of bring more value to his places, even for his restaurant downstairs as well, and bring more to the community as well.
Okay. Anything else? We're gonna have a public hearing, but I guess before that, this one is soju currently on the menu?
Sake is because they're considered wine, so it's like a rice wine.
How does the city considers it wine? Because when I looked it up, it was a spirit. It's a very high alcohol content. So, yeah.
There you go. We don't have that one. Definitely, we definitely don't have that.
Yeah, I will say there's two types of soju. There's a higher grain one, and then there's one that's closer to rice wine, and they serve both at Minwa. That's the only reason I know that. But
all right. Please have a seat. Well, we're going to have a public hearing and ask the public to comment. Then council will probably ask some more questions. Thanks. All right. This is a public hearing, so I'd like to invite anyone wishing to speak in favor of this CUP to come up to the podium. You can have up to a total of 10 minutes to speak.
How y'all doing today? My name is John Walker. I'm speaking on the Win Club. For me, it's a good space for me to, I'm not Asian, and it's a good space for me to come and meet different people from different cultures, because Buford Highway is known for the culture. And I shoot pool, I shoot billiards and everything. I drink, but I have a new liver, so I can't drink. But I just want to speak highly for them, the community that they put forth for me. And I'm from Tucker, but I come over here to just indulge in the community of Buford Highway that y'all have with the culture and everything. I just want to speak for them, and it's a good place. It's a good, honorable place. Haven't had any scuffles or issues or anything. And it's basically, like Sean said, like Cheers. I first started coming over in the beginning of the end of the summer, and I've met so many different people from so many walks of life just at the club, and that's about it. Thank you very much.
Good evening, council. My name is Lex Lewis. I live in Lithia Springs, Georgia, which is, 2 hours away from here. just over by Six Flags. And I'm here on behalf of the Wind Club because I drive to the Wind Club just to enjoy it, but I wait until traffic dies down. So I leave around 7 o'clock to get there and enjoy it. And I've met several people there. The atmosphere is just a wonderful atmosphere. If you haven't had the chance to go in there, I highly recommend you go there, see for yourself, play around. It's different regulation size pool tables. So it makes it more fun for snooker and 9 ball and everything. Not to mention the people there, it's just comfortable. And I feel that keeping it open until 2 a.m. would just be able to enhance that for not only the establishment, but for the people that frequent it. Because they'll be able to get to spend more time. Because like I said, it takes me a good while to get out here. But I also get to, when I come out here, I go and see other things in the Doraville area that I don't normally get to go and do. Try something new to eat, do things like that. And then I come and finish off at the Wind Club before I make the trek back home. I'm making it sound a lot worse than it is, the drive time, but I'm just trying to let you know that instead of going to somewhere over there, I prefer to come here because the atmosphere is fantastic. The people that you meet there, they're wonderful, friendly, very open to communication. I've never seen any kind of issues every time I've been there. And that's the kind of place that you need more of. So being able to, no, I'm not saying Doraville need that kind of place, but just people in general need that kind of space to go and exist in where they don't have to worry about anything. And being able to do that a little bit longer and maybe get a little bit more buzzed when you're doing it, I think that would just enhance it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Anyone on Zoom? All right. We'll add Gray. Let's just go from the top and go down. So, all right, Greg, if you can unmute and state your name and where you live.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, yes, sir. My name is Gray Williams, and I live in Buford, but I do travel to Tucker for work. And so I'll get off of work later than I would like to sometimes. And the Wing Club has it's been a great spot for me to just relax, invite some friends, and I see that everybody seems to enjoy the environment, especially the personnel in the space. They're very communicative, and they're very you can tell how professional they are, and I think that's why my friends personally appreciate it. Not only that, but we're a community of well, all types of creatives. Me myself, I'm a artist, a singer, songwriter, and I feel like we definitely appreciate just that space where we can kind of balance out our work lives and just really relax in that space for X amount of time. And I've noticed in a lot of our trips, we have to kind of wind down a little bit earlier. And so I definitely think staying up until 2 would be great for this place, especially in terms of getting more traction for them, because I feel like their trajectory is really strong just based on the fact that they're able to curate that type of like safe environment. And yeah, that way, when people are there for X amount of time, they might not have to outsource to like leave to another place in order to get whether it was a different type of spirit or whatever the case. I do think that would come in handy just in terms of getting people through the door and so people can see what they're really about. And I definitely second what everybody was saying too. I haven't seen one issue, and I think that's really just hats off to their business model and the way that they come with open arms. They're very welcoming and professional. Mm.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and then it looks like Sunil.
Yes. Hi. Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, just state your name, where you live, and then you can go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Yes, so my name is Sunil Jayana. I live in Stone Mountain, but I have been working in Doraville for the past 24 years as a social worker. I support folks with developmental disabilities. So one of the things that I want to do is just kind of really, show my support for this club, the WIN Club. Being a social worker, I'm not, I work very long hours, and the WIN Club has been a great spot for me to go for the past couple of years to just enjoy dinner, play pool. In my experience, the business is run really, really well, responsibly. Billy does a great job of managing the place. I do notice a lot of good people come in. Diversity is very strong. I feel like this is a ideal location for a lot of the folks that I work with, a lot of my coworkers, and a lot of my clients. This is, like I said, this is a ideal place where I've frequented often. I feel like this is, this is something that will benefit Doraville, because I feel like it's going to bring a lot of positive business to that location. So again, I want to definitely show my support, and I do request that the council considers providing the liquor license to this club. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Angelo?
Hey, thank you for your time. I definitely want to show my support for the WIN Club. I recently
Could you
been
state your
going
name
to,
and where you live really quick for the record?
oh yeah, definitely. I live in Sandy Springs, Georgia, and I'm about maybe 30 minutes away from the WIN Club on a good day without traffic. And I've been going there for a few months now. In my experience so far, I've met some of the closest people I've met friend wise in a long time. The community there is very strong, and I definitely believe they deserve the consideration to approve that liquor license. I found it to be well run, respectful, and focused on providing a safe social environment rather than like a late night bar atmosphere. I believe they'll continue to operate responsibly and be a positive addition to the community. Um, I respectfully ask the council to approve their alcohol license. They've do a great job, and I believe they'll continue to do a great job for the community as well. And I just want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you. And next, looks like James. State your name.
Hi,
And,
yes.
yeah.
Can you hear? I'm James Ellisby. I live in Latonia, and the Wing Club has exceeded expectations. I've always enjoyed shooting pool and meeting new people. The atmosphere there is the most comfortable that I've been around. It's not loud, it's very relaxed. Food is good, and everybody is friendly. It's just always a bummer when you're having fun with your friends and you're looking at like, oh, it's 12 o'clock, we got to go home. Or I wanted something else to drink, but I can only have maybe some rice wine. It's just a very good spot to relax and unwind. Like I don't even think about the drive when I go out there. I'm like, I'm just ready to go, have some fun, shoot some pool, learn something new, meet new people. I've made some new friends just from being out there in the last few months. So it would be great if the liquor license and the time could be approved because Win Club deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
My name is Matul Arifin. I live in.
Yeah, make sure the light is on that mic. Does it see where it says push?
My name is Matul Arifin. I live in Stone Mountain. Billy is a friend of mine. I like to play pool. I think everybody can agree. We all can agree he's a good person. Although we have a language barrier, we're still good friends. He's a good person. That's the only reason, right? So, which is the main reason. So this, customer service wise, the place is nice, but we're just a niche group of people from all different places because of the fact that the tables are different. It's not about the alcohol or anything like that. So the soju, I was gonna answer your question about the soju. The one that he carries is about 12%, something like that. Nothing over, don't quote me on it, could be 12.9 or anything like that, something like that. But my concern is the about the business and itself. Like from 12, if we close at 12, we're losing a lot of customers. I would like to hang out for a little bit longer. And with the economy being like this, like all the expenses are high, landlords are charging a lot of rent. It's hard for him to cover his expenses. This is the concern. So with all that, I'm sure some of you guys are business people, so you understand that it's hard to meet the ends if the business is not a complete thought. So whenever it was written in 2023 or it was approved with the CUP, I don't think everybody put that together that this business is not gonna work in this manner. So that's just the only consideration that I can ask for you guys, just for the business to actually function. Because in this style, although people like it, it may not be like a profitable business for him, period. We might have to just shut it down. That's the thing. Thank you guys for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. How about people wishing to speak against the CUP? You can come up to the podium. We can also have up to 10 minutes to speak, or you can use the raise hand function in Zoom. All right. We are going to close the public hearing. Bring it back to council. I guess first, I actually would like to ask Mr. Nguyen you a couple of questions. I'll say, when this case came up, I looked up the ratings on Google Maps just to see, what people are saying about the business. Was overwhelmingly positive, and if I compare it to the reviews of the other clubs in Doraville, much more complimentary. That said, council was sent an email today just kind of listing some of the citations that the club was issued. And I guess I would like to hear you speak to those citations if you can.
All right, I'm gonna ask Billy to come up for that one, because I wasn't part of that at the moment. So,
Can you tell me, when did you come on board?
well, I was basically, I came just for a little bit in the beginning of the year, but then of course, with my regular job and everything, I stepped away for a little bit, and then I just recently came back, maybe I would say about 4 or 5 months ago, just to around August, I think, and started kind of helping them manage and getting everybody situated and kind of market the place a little bit and everything like that.
All right.
The citation, so 他们说罚了几个单子，那些是为
There was one for operating after midnight. There was one for gambling on premises. And then there was one for coin-operated gaming machines, which were prohibited by the CUP. I imagine those are gone, but I think there was also a sign that said open till 3 or something.
It's from 3 p.m. to midnight right now. Or is that prior?
Was there a sign that said open till 3 a.m.?
通勤有开到3点那个招牌。
I thought that was what I read in the email. Maybe I'm. Yeah, hours of operations were posted as 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Windows were covered with plywood and completely blacked out. There was a DJ booth that had not been approved. So I guess, what I would like to hear, and I think what council probably is going to want to hear is, if you're just asking me, I would say we should treat you the same way we treat any pool hall in the city. And some of these rules do seem arbitrary if we've got other places operating till 2:30. That said, if council granted you this CUP and there have been all these violations already, I can see from a council member who's thinking about voting for this, from their perspective, this is, you know, you didn't follow what we put in before. How do we know, you haven't proven to us that you can do it? So I guess that's what I want to hear about.
Okay. So basically when I, of course, before I came back full time into, because the first time I came around was just to help him find a manager to operate and everything. I stepped away, right? And then of course coming back in, so he did take away the slot machines. I guess after all the citations, he changed everything around. The hours on the door got changed from 3 p.m. to midnight right now. So he has fixed a lot of I will say he fixed all of the issues. So there's nothing. And then of course, being like a consultant right now for him is just really because of the language barrier. Translating, just kind of pushing him towards, hey, if you want this billiards hall to be open, and like for myself as a customer, I will go in and I love the place. The vibe is good, the lighting and the environment's better than most places that I go to, right? And if he wants me to be part of this, and again, I volunteer for a city. Most know me as the Kiwi man. And I put my reputation on the line as well, right? And so with me by his side, or at least helping him manage it, I'm gonna definitely make sure it's followed by the books, because I want to keep this establishment for me and my friends and everything like that. And also, we start, for me at least, we start teaching other people how to play as well. If they want to come and learn, we'll teach them. And then for me my idea is really just like the Cheers situation. You come in, you relax, and you could actually, the nice little bar area, you could bring if you work remotely, that's what I do sometimes. I go there and just work remotely. And that's how I met a couple of the customers. I was, we just kind of interact. And if we got to have a little espresso machine, it will be perfect. But it's just a place where I wanted to succeed and also host events and stuff like that. Just like his restaurant downstairs, where I know he volunteer and hosts different events for the city, even for the CEO as well. But it's just trying to get upstairs situated. So I have talked to him about it. We fixed a lot of stuff. So it's definitely a work in progress. But me representing him and for myself and for the city, of course, is just really trying to push forward to better the place and, of course, make it a respectful environment for the city as well. Because growing up in Doraville, I just want to make sure everything's up and up, right? But he did learn from his lessons prior, and of course, he did pay the fines and get the citation. And at least on my end, I'm gonna make sure it follows everything. And with him, working with him, is just gonna move forward positively for the new year and everything.
I guess the other thing I want to hear about, just because it's kind of rare to have a bunch of patrons come in and speak this way. I just am curious, from your point of view, what does make this club different than other places?
Definitely, the 4 tables, right? It's not like, Mr. Q's. They got like a lot of tables, and it's just really, really crowded, the lighting and everything. So for me, it's more of I want to say it's more of a friendly family vibe. And again, like I said, I usually, before working with him, I usually just bring my laptop. I'll sit at the bar and work, and then of course take my break, play some pool, and of course the restaurant provides the food from his downstairs restaurant. And again, it's just the vibe. It's small, it's quaint, it's not too crowded, so you actually get to network and meet different people from different backgrounds and everything like that. And for me, that feels different. And that's why I was like, okay, once he asked me about it, I was like, all right, I could, my networking, I talk to people, I love meeting new people. And I was like, well, I could definitely kind of help you out. And then from there, we just kind of build a partnership where, hey, you help me since you speak English, Mandarin, just translate and kind of bring people in. And from there is just where all these patrons come in, and it's like we meet and greet and become friends. So basically just a place where we can network and mingle, make friends, talk about different subjects and everything like that. So to me, it's definitely different from Red Fox, from Q's, from Mazzy's out there in Gwinnett. It's just a little bit more quaint and friendly, family-oriented situation. So that's the difference.
Well, let's see what questions council has. Councilmember Armistead?
Stay here. Okay.
Yeah, please, please.
I don't know that I have any questions. Thank you for speaking about that. And it is really nice to hear patrons happy with an establishment. I think that's great, but I also think that those citations were pretty serious and a violation of trust. in my opinion. So
Agree.
I personally am not inclined to increase the permissions that we gave with the CUP.
Okay.
But I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Councilmember Simmons?
Thanks, Mayor. This my first question's for Austin. So these other places in Dora, I saw in the planning commission meeting that there's some other places that are allowed to open late that are pool halls allowed, and correct me if I'm wrong, hang on. Red Fox, yeah. So indoor allowed to open or stay open later. And do they serve liquor in those places too? Okay. But if they,
But our rules for alcohol licenses, our typical alcohol license, you're allowed to stay open until 2 a.m. and then the patrons have to be out by 2:30.
right. But do you know the reason why they would have that? Is it because they sell food and they have a certain percent of sales for that? Because isn't that a rule like 60-40 or 50-50 or?
Migos, they were granted an accessory alcohol license, so they didn't have to have that other percentage come from food sales. It could come from other revenue, like pool tables. They do sell some food, but it's mostly like snacks, not a kitchen.
Right. And that's sort of how they were allowed to sell alcohol, even though it's not liquor, right? Was because
They sell liquor.
no. Win Club. Sorry. Switch. Win Club. The reason they can sell alcohol is because we gave them an accessory alcohol license, right? But they weren't allowed liquor just because of the CUP and what restrictions we put. Okay. Okay. No, that's what I wanted to clarify. Okay. Thank you for that. And then next one's for you, the slot machine. So I remember during that meeting where we said specifically no slot machines, leaving that door constantly open or unlocked. And then of course they didn't do that. So I understand and agree with Councilmember Armistead that it's like we set some stuff up to see what would work, and I mean, see how you guys would do and sort of failed there. So not very happy about that part, but I might be, and I'll talk with council when we go about inclined maybe to extend some hours and leave off the liquor and just see how they do and go from there, to give them a chance, see if they can do right for a certain amount of time. That is something I might discuss with council here. And but yeah, like I remember specifically, I think Councilmember Kuntz was the one who mentioned the coin operated stuff when we talked about that. And that just sounded like a good plan. So to me, that just shows that you're trying to see what you can get away with until you get caught and then just pay the fine. And that's it. And if we do agree to any of the stuff that you asked, how do we know that you're going to do right unless we come check on you? And it shouldn't be like that. It should be trust. So thank you.
All right. Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, thank you. First, I'll just commend you. I don't think I've heard that much positive sentiment around something we've talked about in a long time. So it's really great to see. I was actually on the planning commission, I think, when this first came across. And I remember, I believe, voting in favor for it, thinking it could sort of be a third place, which has been described. So I'll commend you on really some great reviews and even some just random people based on the Google reviews showing up on like a bachelorette night and then just ending up there and having a good time. I don't know who would be best to answer this question, if it would be Cecil or Austin or Chief, but did I hear we do have other billiards halls that are serving alcohol and are staying open till 2 a.m.? Okay.
The answer was yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm not thrilled about the citations. It sounds like that's been taken care of, and it sounds like I know we've had other businesses do the same thing with and without a conditional use permit, and we have the mechanisms in place to enforce fines and go from there if the problem persists or gets worse. My general inclination is, it's not good that you broke those rules, but I don't know why we're holding one billiards hall to different rules than all the others. And given the positive sentiment, I think I'm generally leaning towards being okay with this, but if anyone from council at the time who kind of set some of those further restrictions could enlighten me on why we decided to put more restriction on this one and not the others. But to me, that seems a bit inconsistent, and that's kind of my take on this here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Henshaw.
I think I'm going to do my comments in kind of two parts. I think, and maybe Austin, you can clarify this. I think all of this came about, these restrictions came about because they had started construction on the business well ahead of any permits having been issued. And there was a sort of a preloading of a lot of stuff. And that's why there was some conditions that were put on, originally put on this, I believe. So they had basically they had rented out a space with the landlord and had already completed quite a bit of construction. They had, without having applied for business licenses, and this was not an allowed use within this district. And so the CUP was put in place because they required a CUP because they had gone through the building process without initial permission. So we sort of extended the olive branch of the CUP and said, okay, we understand that something got lost in translation, not literal translation, but between the signing of a lease and the understanding of how the build out process works and the timing and the applications. And so we put restrictions in place because we were retroactively doing a lot of stuff, and it's something that we've done in the past for other businesses. And yeah, I mean, I think the business, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the business hours, but we, as a city, and this is a second comment, as a city, we have issues with coin-operated amusement machines, I think is the proper term, but there have been a lot of problems with it, and it's why we explicitly put that verbiage in our CUPs, is so that we have the ability to revoke CUPs if that rule is violated, because these coin-operated machines, there have been robberies and armed robberies associated with them being used, and we don't want to see that in our city, not just for the tenants, but for anybody that happens to be in a parking lot or that happens to be strolling by that gets caught up in these terrible, unnecessary events. But so we put those restrictions in place, I believe, because of how there was some miscommunications. And I know I've had it happen many times with my clients where they go, we've started a project, the landlord said it was perfectly fine, and then we can't do it. What do we do? And you go through the CUP process, you go through the variance process, you figure it out. If there had been no hiccups along the way, I would be very inclined to, without a doubt, say, okay, yeah, let's extend the hours. They've been good partners. They've adhered to what they legally agreed to. I came in tonight firmly opposed to this expansion simply because the company, not necessarily you or you, but the company agreed to these things in writing legally and then chose to, it's not like, oops, I closed the door at the wrong time. It's, I paid, I know those gambling machines are $30,000 a piece or whatever, and I put 6 of them in there. Like, that was in a pretty egregious violation of what was done. Per other council comments, you have a lot of positive support, and it seems like you're trying to create an atmosphere that's really good. We've had a lot of feedback from businesses that have put in the coin-operated machines, even though they were asked and agreed not to, because they said, oh, a partner of mine said that I've got to put them in, or, oh, I've just heard really good things about them and I wanted to try them out. And they're all just terrible excuses. And so, unforgivable excuses, I don't know the answer to that. And that's a completely separate issue. And I don't know how that's going to play out as we move forward. As I said, I was inclined to just kind of watch this whole thing, but your positive feedback that you've gotten from your customers is good. And obviously you've cleaned up, a lot of your business practices. And sometimes it just takes the understanding of the city of Dorville isn't here to hurt businesses. We want to provide an opportunity for businesses to grow and thrive, but we need to do it in a safe manner. And we need to do it in a clean manner. And we need to do it, not just safety for the people, the patrons, but everyone around. So I think I need more time to consider it. I was originally willing to waive first read and just vote no on it. I think I'd like a little bit more time to think about it now. But there's still some unanswered questions about, it's a partnership, it's a business and a city, and it's a lopsided partnership right now. And we've got to figure out how to set those standards correctly. And so I have some more questions for legal that are not for now. But I appreciate everyone coming and speaking, and I appreciate that you did attempt to amend these things, but when you sign something and says, I'm not going to do it, and then you do it, it just leaves a very bad taste in the city's mouth. So
Definitely understand.
and I understand that you understand that now, but it's a struggle. I get it. It's
Thank you.
hard to own a business. So I think that's it for me for now. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. Question for you, Austin. With their hours potentially being extended to 2 in that shopping center, would that create parking issues potentially? That you can, I think it said something in the CUP like 1 per 200 or something like that.
If I'm recalling correctly, first go around.
And then I wanted to clarify, like with Red Fox, when I looked it up online, it looked like they served only beer, wine, and, but is it?
I was looking the same thing up in the back there, and I only saw beer, wine, and sake. And I mean, without looking at the percentage on the bottles, like Councilmember Ray said, there's a bit of more of a range there. But
Thank you. And then to the gentleman here, not a fan of the rules being broken. We
Understandable.
that the machines are illegal. But I would like to align it with the other billiards halls with conditions potentially.
Okay.
But I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
If you had the choice between extended hours or the liquor, which would you choose?
My opinion, or
Even the owners, yeah.
to 2.
Two.
To 2.
That's what people brought up the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they just want to stay longer and enjoy the time and everything like that. So
That's it. Thank you.
thank you, Councilman.
Thanks. Councilmember Coons.
Yeah, I was on the council when this came before us the first time, and you're absolutely right. They built this out with no permits. They didn't abide by any of the city rules when they were doing this the first time. What? Oh. Warren, do you got? Okay. And you were down there waving. I thought
They were parched.
Oh, they were parched. Okay. No, and that's why we put these more restrictive conditional uses in, was because to me, this was like a probation. Like, let's, you've broken the trust with the city, and let's see if we can repair this trust. And then since that time, I mean, I got the email here from the police chief. They had 2 violations of being open after after 12 p.m. They had a private poker game played in a locked room in the back, and I was super not in favor of that room even existing. And he begged me to please leave this room because we have these televised poker tournaments where we need the VIP players to rest between rounds or something. And it's exactly what I knew that I was afraid of. They were going to have poker games. And I've looked up, Google searched Win Club Poker, and there's Atlanta Poker Club talking about Friday night games every Friday night, and these other poker, round robin, kind of, they go around to different sports clubs playing illegal poker games in the back rooms. And there's, these coin operated machines. We said, no, coin operated machines, go out and buy them anyway. It said, put the hours on the door. They put at one point it said 3 a.m. on the door. There's a notice in here about a ticket for that. And I know this was before you came, okay? But to me, that's when someone's on probation and then they do something illegal, normally that means that you go back to jail.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I've never been on probation, but
I ain't on probation
been
either,
on
so
probation,
hopefully not.
but I've spent the night in jail too for being dumb when I was younger.
Exactly.
And so, I know there's repercussions from this, and we'll write the process of another CP that we gave to someone, told them no coin operating machines. They put them in anyway. We're fixing to revoke their business license. And so, the fact that you still have a business license I don't even understand how that's happening. It's like somebody does something illegal and they're on probation, why are they not back in jail? And so, you know, the fact that, you know, I don't know how long it's been since these kind of violations have been happening. I personally, again, have major problems just with this, the way this thing is built out with that back room. It's just inviting illegal activity. And if, you know, I was going to have a say in this, if I was going to even allow this club to continue to operate, that wall needs to be torn out and that back room needs to be open to the public.
Just about to ask you that, would that be like, you know, an option for that if?
Well, that would make me feel more, I don't know about the rest of the council, that would make me feel more comfortable about, you know.
Is that something that the owner will do?
You can get another pool table back there.
Well, it's better to know now and decide next month.
No, no.
Because he refused to do it last time.
Yeah.
See.
So, huh? What about Chambi? Well, I'm a quick call. So well, of course, he uses that as an office space as well, right? And then of course, you know, so he was like, well, in that case, you know, if we designate that into like a storage room, and of course, you know, the city's
People can still put poker games back. I'm just, that's my issue with it.
Just,
you know, the police caught you having a illegal poker game in that back room. And now you still want to keep the room. How do we know without sending our police in? And we don't have the resources to be sending the police into your club every month to try to make sure that you're not doing illegal stuff again.
对，他说，因为他是怕，因为上次那个罚的时候在后面那 poker，所以是这样。对，so I'm just translating for him. He's like, of course, you know, the poker game has been canceled after the citation, and so, 可是他说，也把那个墙壁打掉的时候，他也放弃，不会重新开始。也不用放手桌，都放椅子，人家可以在那一块坐，这样。Okay, so owner, all right. So he's like, if everything is re-amended, he'll definitely take the wall down. And it's just right now, of course, there's just an office space for him. So that's
okay. I mean, it's probably not going to get voted on tonight.
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
I'm just saying my initial concern, because I went over there and looked at the space before we did the CEP, and my concern when I saw that back room, it's like, this is a space where somebody could have an illegal poker game. And I was assured we're not going to do that. And then you had an illegal poker game in the space that I knew was a space that somebody could have an illegal poker game. And so now you're saying, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. I don't know that. You've already told me you weren't going to do that once and you did it.
But now he's saying he will remove the wall,
Right. So
which would be a big,
make
yeah.
me more comfortable, or, you know, and again, this is probably going to be next month. I'm not going to be up here voting for this. So I just wanted to voice my concerns from the first time that, like I said, that room looked problematic. I was promised nothing's going to happen. You got caught, something happened. Now you're saying we want to keep we can't keep coming over there. We don't have the resources to be sending our cops over there every 2 weeks to see when or if you're having a poker game, or be searching online looking for them or other weird stuff. What? Who knows? Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
what I have heard from council, like they would like another month to kind of consider this, which is probably, honestly better for you guys. But I think the fact that you're willing to remove that back wall, open the space up so that you can't have illicit poker games might go a long way towards making this, but that might end up being a condition of the allowance. So I would just keep that in mind. If you're willing to do that, it's going to have a financial impact. But council will hear this again next month, and Councilmember Nasser, you'll be on the dais then and decide that too. So thank you for coming out. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we've got Zen Relaxation Massage, CP 25-08.
All right, our next case is another conditional use permit. This one is a little bit simpler, CP 2508, 5938 Beaufort Highway, Suites 103 to 105. This is actually Treat Your Feet, a massage parlor that's been around in the city for quite a while. I believe they've been open since 2011. The current owner is retiring and selling the business, so the new owner is having to come in, get all new licenses and everything like that, which is what triggered the review. Most massage parlors are required to have a CUP in the city. Treat Your Feet has been here for long enough. I'm not sure, why they didn't get one in the beginning, but anyway, here we are correcting this with the new owner. Like I said, Treat Your Feet, new owner. They're in the Plaza One Shopping Center at the corner of Oak Cliff and Beaufort Highway in the north end of the city. Here's how the floor plan is laid out. And one of the things I do want to stress is, to the best of my knowledge, the incoming owner does not plan to change anything about how the business is run. They're just simply taking it over from the soon-to-be retiring owner. Some photos of what the interior looks like. And staff recommended approval with no additional conditions. Planning Commission agreed and did not have any conditions as well. And the owner is here, or the new owner is here if you have any questions for them as well.
So is there anything you'd like to add? You don't have to, it's just. Sure.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Don Zane, and I'm the new owner of the Treat Your Feet Doraville. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Treat Your Feet Doraville has been serving the community at the same location for about 14, 15 years already. So it's a legitimate professional massage business, and because of the ownership changed, it doesn't mean that the use of service, how about this way? While the ownership changed, the use, the service, the hours and operation is not going to change. I understand because of the change of ownership, I am required to go through the COP process, and I appreciate the city's help. I was able to submit this application. And my goal as a new owner is coming in to continue the long-standing business responsibility and in full compliance with the city and state regulations. I have invested to maintain a clean, calm, professional interior, and I'm committed to be a good neighbor and positive presence in the community. I respectfully ask for your approval so I may continue serving the community and neighborhood. Thank you for the time and consideration.
Thank you. All right, we will open it up as a public hearing first on this CUP 25-08. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, come up to the podium. You can have up to 10 minutes to speak. We will allow as many people as want to speak. Not seeing any hands raised or people coming up, so we'll open it up to people wishing to speak against. Not seeing any hands raised on Zoom or people coming up to the podium. So we are going to close the public hearing. I guess, Austin, I have a question for you. I watched the Planning Commission meeting just to understand this case, and to me, it sounds like the city screwed up somehow, either screwed up by losing the CUP that had been passed back whenever this was approved, or screwed up by not not requiring one. You know, they do have a license already, or they have had a license. This is a new business, but obviously the one that's been there has been, you know, fine operation. There's not really, there shouldn't be a reason to give a lot of scrutiny to this beyond what we would do typically, right?
I would say this is largely procedural. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be problematic if we didn't pass it, given that they've been operating for 15 years. So I just wanted to lay that out. I would say, and this is maybe a question for Cecil, but as a CUP conditional condition, could the council require no coin-operated amusement machines?
Yes, if we're issuing a CUP, you pretty much have the right to put conditions on there you see fit. Mm-hmm.
I guess I would just say, you know, if we're thinking about, you know, giving, I don't think you're going to put them in, but then we could just say they're not allowed, and we know they're not allowed on this property. If some other owner comes in, that's my only suggestion. Councilmember Kuntz, why don't we start with you?
No, and I just have one question for Chief Atkinson. And this is for you as the chief of police, not the city manager.
All
I
right.
know you got two hats to get. Have you ever been out there to the site for a complaint or a citation or anything in 14 years?
Not against the business. We have investigated a crime there that was a rogue masseuse.
Okay.
Not as a business doing illegal activities.
Okay, so the business itself has never had a citation or code enforcement or any issues in 14 years. That's been my understanding too. And I know quite a few people that use the business, and I agree with the mayor. If we're issuing the CUP, just as a matter of course, to try to limit these coin operated gambling machines, just add that to the CUP, but otherwise I'm fine with this.
All right, thanks. Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, no questions. I'm glad we're coming into compliance with this. I agree with the mayor to have the coin-operated machines on the CUP not to be allowed. And I have been a patron of the business in the past many times. So thank you for always good service.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Henshaw.
I too have been there with my wife many, many times. So you're a adorable institution. So I'm glad it's going to stay in the same vein. Obviously, having just heard the whole coin operated gambling thing now many times, that would be my only condition that I would want to put on that as well. So thank you.
Councilmember Armistead.
I am a customer. I love it. I've been going there since before I moved to Doraville, so I'm glad you're going to continue the business, and I agree with the coin operated machines as well, and I support this, so thanks.
Councilmember Simmons.
Well, rogue masseuse, I like that one. It's like a Seinfeld character over there. Haven't heard that. So my thing, well, actually I've been a patron too, and I've actually built a Treat Your Feet in the past when I was with a certain company. I agree about the coin operated machines, and I don't know who this is for, this question, but I think Austin or something is there something that sort of in our system that like can correlate the CUP with a business license and or some whatever zone, or like, so we don't do this again, or we can find where we've missed it in the past? Is that?
Yes,
makes sense?
I mean,
Do we have like an audit type deal or something?
we've gone through and checked all our existing CUPs and rescinded them.
I think he's asking about the opposite.
The opposite, like where there isn't a CUP, it should be a CUP based on the business license, business license.
So in this case, what triggered it is, even though,
Well, I understand what triggered it.
well, functionally it's the same business, but what happens is when you have a new owner or a new entity that's owning a business, it's on paper, it's like your business. So that's kind of what triggers it.
Okay, so there's nothing in our system electronically, code wise or anything?
It's caught by code enforcement when they're doing license sweeps, and they'll identify that there's a business that doesn't have a license or something.
How about computer code is more what I'm saying, like okay, there's nothing like that. Okay. No, I was just wondering, and like if we could put anything in place, if there's anything out there. But I guess there's so many parameters that you don't even know. Like, how do you know it's a CUP without knowing? Exactly. No, yeah, no, I was just wondering on that part, but no, that's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, no other questions. Thank you.
Wait for read.
You've had a motion. We have a motion and a second to waive first read. Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
All in favor, yeah?
Oh, all in favor?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone like to make a motion? A motion to approve CUP 25-08 with the.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve CUP 20
5-08.
25-08 with adding the language of not allowing any coin operated machines in the establishment.
I'll second.
Second. So a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll. Councilmember Kuntz,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans, Councilmember Henshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead, Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, next up. Yeah, don't feel like you need to stay if
Yeah.
you don't want to. V25-16.
All right, so just two variances left. So this first one is at 3604 Wilton Avenue, and this is for a addition onto the existing property. So there's two requests that are being made. One is to reduce the rear yard setback on the property from 25 feet to 9 feet 7 inches, and to exceed the maximum impervious coverage on the property from 40% to 52%. So there's a couple different reasons that the applicant's wanting to do this. One is that some stormwater issues. So there's a drainage project that's part of this addition as well. But also, as we'll see if I can get ahead to the, Albert, can you click on the, there we go. On the property. So when you're looking at the property on the site view, so the owner, Mr. Alderman, actually has two properties. So the house sits on one, highlighted here in yellow. And then he also owns an oddly shaped lot next door as well, which here is on highlighted in red. There's also a conservation easement, just as a kind of a note along Pine Street there. It's kind of an old fashioned thing, but for these purposes, it's kind of irrelevant, but just to note that it's there. And it shows up on surveys and stuff like that. So the let's see if we have okay, so here's this proposed site plan. So you see the house kind of in the middle here. You see the wooden deck, attached wooden deck around the exterior of three sides of the home. And then you see the little faint blue line there, which is probably hard to see on y'all's little screens, is a retaining wall. So two parts of the deck are going to be roofed. Typically we count roofs as, or decks as additions and increasing impervious square footage and things like that. Here's kind of an example of the look that Mr. Alderman's going for. And then the proposed drainage system here, the existing underground drain, and then an additional French drain as well to help with some topography issues. I think we actually have the kind of what that looks like. So what part of the staff's approval or argument for approval for this is that, because of those, technically it's increasing the impervious coverage on this lot, but functionally with the lot next door that is really too small to be developed and also has like sloping topography issues. These kind of function as one, and they're unlikely to ever be decoupled. So that's why we're recommending approval. Planning Commission also recommended approval, and Mr. Alderman is here if you have any questions.
Mr. Alderman, is there anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, it's not really touched on by Austin here, but the excuse me, the topography and the drainage is causing a hydrostatic pressure to the basement, and it's buckling the interior wall on the west side. So with the excavation out there and putting in the retaining wall and the French drain, my engineers suggested, and I'm in the construction business myself, I know that'll relieve the pressure and the hydrostatic pressure against that wall. I believe that if we don't do it, the end result is the property is going to continue to degrade, and eventually we'll have to condemn it. I mean, we've got to do something, and I think this is the best solution. Putting the deck on there is just, I think, icing on the cake. It'll give coverage to make sure rain can't get down to where we excavate. And then the wraparound part to the front, I really regret the move away from front porches. I like the community aspect of a front porch. So we really enjoy that front porch. You're often going to see me sitting outside trying to wave to people, but right now I'm like way down on the ground, and I might see some people, but up on the deck, we'll be able to say hello to everybody. And we do have people that come by and walk their dogs, and we tell them dog-friendly yard, let them roll, let them play. So that's it. I appreciate the council considering this. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Well, this is a public hearing. So first we'll open up to the public, invite anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item to come up to the podium. You can have up to a total of 10 minutes to speak, or you can use raise hand function in Zoom. Not seeing anyone come up, so we will open up to anyone wishing to speak against this item. Again, you can come up to the podium or raise your hand on Zoom. You can have up to 10 minutes to speak. All right, not seeing that, so we're going to close the public hearing. I mean, I'll say that it seems like you have to do something, and this, you're investing in your property. It really will, I think it will be a benefit for your neighbors even when you get this done. But council, any questions or comments on this side? Councilmember Henshaw?
I just want to say, I went through a very similar thing with my house because I had to go increase my impervious coverage, and I had water drainage issues, and I had some weird lot stuff. So I understand the pain that you're going through. I appreciate that you're dealing with this in a very good manner, and I appreciate that you're coming forward for the variances and the permits and not just trying to do the work and slide by. So thank you for taking all the time and energy, and a very nice survey, because I harp on people for that a lot. So yeah, thank you for that. And no, that's it. Thank you.
All right, anyone over here want to say anything? Councilmember Armistead?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say I've always really loved your house. It's one of my favorites, so.
Councilmember Ray?
I'll just say thanks for the detail you put into the packet. It makes it a lot easier to just make a quick decision as opposed to like a few hand drawings and everything. So appreciate you putting the time in and making sure it's a good solution.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yeah, my question is for Austin. I think everything's great. I'm all for it. This conservation easement, there's no setbacks of building anything on it that's going to trigger.
Not proposing to build on it.
No, not building on it. Like on creeks, you have 50 feet. There's nothing like that with the conservation easement. Because I'm asking.
Gut reaction is no. We haven't really looked into it because he's not proposing to build on it. So again, it's kind of irrelevant for this ask.
Yeah,
Council is not approving anything that will be in.
Correct.
I think he's just saying there's no 50 feet.
It's like, because his deck is going to be close to the border. I mean, it's fine, but like when you can't build within 50 feet of a creek or 25 on state and all that stuff without getting approval. I just want to make sure he doesn't get dinged.
It's not that. I'm not.
Okay, it's nothing like.
It is, but it's not that because it's not a blue line.
Okay, that's all. I'm just making sure. Like, I'm all for it, but I just don't want anyone come back later. Well, you never got this approval from the state because it's a conservation easement, and that's.
Would anyone like to make a motion to waive first read?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
Make a motion to pass V-25-16 for the variance to vary section 23-903B to reduce the rear yard setback from 25 feet to 9.7 feet and to increase the impervious lot coverage maximum from 40% to 52% for a property located at 3604 Wilton Avenue.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just real quick too, I just want to add, I do love your house too.
Couldn't be outdone by Carrie.
Yeah, the front porch thing is just, you're so right about that.
All right. Councilmember Armistead.
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember Evans. Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
Councilmember Kuntz.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Go fix your house.
All right. So for the next item, Councilmember Simmons needs to step down. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
All right, Warren's gone. So this last variance is for Councilmember Simmons' house at or a property at 2709 Mill Court owned by Councilmember Simmons. So he's requesting a variance to encroach into the rear yard setback, reducing it from 25 down to 6 feet. So the Councilmember or Mr. Simmons purchased the property and demolished the house that was originally sitting on the site, which had a tree fall on it. Here's the lot, and he did pull a permit for that, don't worry. So here's the lot as it is. So he's requesting the variance because of the shape of the lot and the proposed home that he's wanting to build on the lot. So like all the rest of the homes here at the end of Mill Court, a lot of them are kind of pizza shaped. So by the road, they have very, very narrow frontages and then very wide in the rear. So here's an outline of the encroachment in the rear yard setback. So you can see the proposed home footprint that Mr. Simmons is talking about, and then underneath that, you can see the outline of where the previous home stood. So there were actually two places, both on the side and the rear, where the previous home was encroaching. Like I said, due to the oddly shaped nature of the lot, he's kind of had to shove it back and kind of catty corner it or a little bit in order to get the footprint and the driveway configuration that was desired on the lot. So staff are recommending approval, and Planning Commission's also recommended approval.
All right. Well, this is a public hearing, so I guess first we will open up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item, please come up to the podium. You can have up to a total of 10 minutes to speak. Or you can use the raise hand function on Zoom. Not seeing anyone, so I'll open up to anyone wishing to speak against this item. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. I guess, Austin, before we pull it back to the council, just to bring up some of the stuff that came up at the Planning Commission meeting, I think they asked about, like, if you consider flipping it, if you flip the house, it still encroaches. I think, like, you know, either way, it's encroaching into the tank farm boundary. So, I mean, if you're asking about what this house is going to impact, that encroachment is like the property line that it's encroaching to is like a tank farm, right?
There's some wooded area behind it, but yeah, the property is
The property is a tank farm.
property is a tank farm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if there were any other things, I mean,
You probably could turn it a little bit, but then your house is kind of facing that way.
yeah, I mean, it's an awkward lot, so he's got to manage it. Can he come in here to answer questions if council has questions? Okay. Councilmember Henshaw, anything? Councilmember Evans?
No.
Councilmember Kuntz?
No, I was just gonna say, well, like what you said, Mayor, if you twist the house, that's gonna have more of a negative impact on his side neighbors. You know, and the house is just gonna look weird, and it might negatively impact his neighbor's property values, having a weird looking house sitting there. And the encroachment is just, I was over there at his house for another reason, and I looked at it, it's just woods, and it's the tank farm property. It's not encroaching. It's not putting his house closer to another residential house.
Mhm.
And so I've got no problem with this.
Councilmember Armstead? Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, I'll just say I live on this road and it looks odd on this lot, but honestly, the way it's positioned is the most sensical way to not encroach upon his neighbors. It looks like it's fitting in a row. And I do know he also made a pretty good faith effort to try to purchase some land from the tank farm property to not go into this encroachment, and they just weren't interested. So I think this makes a lot of sense, especially compared to the previous footprint of the house, which didn't cause anyone any problems in the years I've lived there.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion to waive first read?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve V2515?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just lie
Right.
to him and tell him we failed. That's all.
I'll call the roll. Councilmember Ray?
Yes.
Councilmember Armstead?
Yes.
Councilmember Kuntz?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes, sorry.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. Can we bring him back in? All right. Next up is, it says Austin on here, but I've been told that actually the discussion is going to be led by Councilmember Evans on the City Center Entertainment District. And I guess I'm a little like, I thought that we had talked about having staff work on it in a previous discussion, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've been meeting with Austin and Albert on this. So the discussion tonight is really focused on the parameters, and there's options in the packet for council to weigh in on what's the preference. But I really wanted to reshape the discussion that this is not the main focus of an alcohol open container district. That's an aspect of it, but it's really designing the future of Dorville downtown as a mixed-use entertainment district city center. And also propose the option that it could be two districts in one. So one could actually be the overall overarching entertainment district, but the city center could be the open container section of that district. As some cities, I think Centennial Yards downtown Atlanta is working on that right now. So I want to make that as an option to consider if that is something council wanted to do. But really reshape it that yes, it's open container, but it's also mixed use with housing. And really to do this now is the best ideal to be proactive in the framework and provide clarity to developers and businesses and residents and avoid any reactive case-by-case decision-making like we've kind of done tonight, but the clear intent to set the boundaries and operating guidelines of downtown Doraville, and the purpose of it, mixed-use city center, people's building. And this is all added to the packet of today, so I won't read it word for word, but bringing clarity of what we're doing and why. But as in several enhancements to this area really to attract developers with the concept to make it more family friendly, bringing in food, possibly grocery, as well as housing, park, green space, et cetera. So with that, I'll let Austin kind of lead up the rest of the discussion on what the parameters bring about and what they incorporate as far as the property guidelines.
Is there a way we can see the maps?
Yes, Albert will pull that up. And one thing I just wanted to make clear is this was just from our discussions with Councilmember Evans. This is not like we're recommending we do this. These are just putting on a map so you can see with your eyes what the district boundaries would be. And I think we've all been to open container districts or entertainment districts in the Atlanta area, whether or not you knew it. And just one of the things that in my experience that I think we should really try to focus on is when it comes to the boundaries is making sure that they're kind of logical, because especially when it comes to alcohol, most of state and local ordinances say it can't be outside. And it can't be in a public place and blah, blah, blah. And this is one of the things that flips that, but you need to make it clear where it is and where it isn't, so that people aren't just wandering off unaware that they've actually left the district. Like, for example, I live near Lee and White in Atlanta, and it's very clear when you're leaving the property, and you shouldn't go in the Beltline with your drink or whatever it is. So this is the first just option that we came up with. And actually one more thing I should say too, even if we do this, state right of way is off limits. So, we can't really cross Buford Highway, and then also Marta's property is off limits as well, just to throw that out there. So this map here just includes the 13 acres that the city owns that are currently going into the first phase of the city center development. It's not an exact outline, but just roughly what that parameter looks like. This is that same property plus our immediate neighbors at the Salvation Army. I know that property has kind of been in the orbit of the city center over the years as we've discussed that. And this also has the benefit of allowing us to be contiguous with the other property that the city owns, where Merely Players currently is off King Street and Church Street. And it also includes some property that Kaufman Capital owns just outside of the current boundaries of the city center project, off of New Peachtree Road as well. Going back to like logical boundaries, this is just kind of a one contiguous block. And going back to the discussion about, clear boundaries, this one is really easy. New Peachtree Road, I-285/Stewart Road, Buford Highway, and then basically where the city center development would end. And then just, spitballing, throwing things out here, assuming that the city center is a raging success and other developments start coming in and wanting to be included in this district, just what does it look like to cross New Peachtree Road, not the Marta property, and then continue on kind of the logical extension from there. So that's all this is.
All right. Yeah.
So regarding the open container district, so this district does not authorize public drinking. It's open container if utilized and managed privilege tied into the licensed business within the corridor. So it's not a general allowance for alcohol consumption. So it does not allow, for example, and talking with Ms. Kuntz, like a gas station to sell a 12-pack of beer and people just start drinking. It has to be alcohol purchased outside of the district, excuse me, within the district, but may not be brought into the district. And it could be a person, it cannot be like a personal can or a bottled alcohol or a glass container, but it's more of a what was purchased from the business, possibly like in a plastic container from the business that are participating within the district for the open container. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll get feedback from people. I guess, Councilmember, you and I talked yesterday, and, I've really not thought that much about anything. I do think that, ideally, I'd love to see a way to incorporate more connectivity with our established restaurants and the people who come here for those, because I really do think that that's already a draw for people. And I see people going from place to place on like a Friday or Saturday night. So it'd be nice to do that. But, kind of listening to the discussion here, I guess what was pinging in my mind is, why are we making it so broad? Maybe we should be more focused and look at the area around the park. You've got those 4 restaurants, you've got the park area, that would be an easy area to at least start from and then build out from. And it would also be a selling point to any of the businesses that are trying to, that we're trying to attract to take those pads. So that's why I think that's like my off the top of the head idea, as I kind of think through how it might work, what would be enforceable, what do we control, and open container district, you're going for a certain kind of business too. So we know we want, restaurants, places with, rooftops, whatever. And we want the public square to be kind of a gathering place, the New Flowers Park. So that might be a way to really look at activating it. So
I'll add to that, like the new Publix off of Disco Publix, off of Piedmont, they have a bar, as well as the Beltline Kroger. So it's not just restaurants.
So why don't we see what council thinks? So we'll start with Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Evans, for bringing this up. I think I'll start as far as the boundaries go. I think the super block makes the most sense. And from an enforcement standpoint and putting up signage, we built a really nice sidewalk along New Peachtree there. And it'd be a good idea, or cool to me, that you could grab a drink at a restaurant at the city center area and then walk over towards a different restaurant further down that sidewalk, or sit down at a bar, or whatever it may be. I think, seeing a bit more formal rules around that, which I know that's not the point of this discussion, but kind of getting the more formal rules of what does this mean, what does it look like, would be interesting. But I think setting it up with that super block would also help encourage development. And I like the idea of getting this done sooner rather than later, just so that, we've got potentially a 14-month timeline, maybe greater, ahead of us. But that doesn't mean we can't do this and signal to other developers and other businesses the direction we're headed. And maybe they want to start working in parallel with our city center to get a jump on this while they can. So I guess my comment overall is I like that super block boundary. And I think Councilmember Evans, it's great if we keep working on this and try to get it more formalized sooner rather than later.
Great. Councilmember Simmons.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I'm in favor of super block, square it off, make it a little bigger. It also, my theory on that is it incentivizes developers, builders to see, it's sort of like our master plan, how we're rezoning certain areas of Doraville. It shows them what our vision is and helps them come into Doraville and know what we're looking for, and that's what they're looking for. So it sort of just helps with that initial conversation and lets them know that we're on the same page and we're not going to try to block them or they have to go through a long process to do what we're envisioning. So that's why I like the super block as opposed to just like a little section of the city center. But that goes to my next question, Austin. Can we do a small portion and then we can add to it later, correct? So if we did go super block and go to 4, whatever, which was like, what was it called? This Greater Doraville or something like that? I mean, that will help sober people up. If you walk from one corner to the other, you'll probably be sober by the end. That's far. But I mean, I like it because it helps develop property that's really not getting looked at much right now, which I like. So actually, that's where they're building the senior building and all. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that they were under construction. That's cool. So that's just my thought on why I sort of like option 3. I do like option 4 as well, but it might be a big, boundary for us starting off. But if we can add later, or maybe on the website say it's possibly proposed for future, whatever, we can deal with that later. I saw your question. So like boundaries, just whenever types of businesses, I just need to think more about it, but definitely like restaurants and all. Some I think should go by right. And then I think some might need approval. That's why we have variances and CUPs and all that stuff. It's like, we can't think of it all the same all at once. And there's options, where they bring in front of us like, oh, I never thought about that business. Oh, it will work here. Maybe some business will work here and some won't. I don't know about identification stuff. You always have wristbands and stuff. That's stuff later on. And then just off the top of my head, I was thinking lounges, no, open to possibly a bar or two. I think that's it. But yeah, to Mayor, what you were saying, that's the only reason I'd like a little bigger one, just to help incentivize development. And maybe these people will come in and want to buy the Salvation Army, or the church might want to move. And that stuff along Beaufort Highway, I know we're talking about, hopefully they'll end up selling or redeveloping. So just the option. That's the only reason I think that. Thank you.
Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. I agree. I like the super block. I think it's definitely the cleanest, obviously gives some more options to potential development. And like you said, we could always add space later if we needed to. I'm in favor of moving forward with that.
Thanks. Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, kind of 2 parts. I think the super block kind of does make sense if we're trying to steer development. There's a gas station there. Do we want people going in and buying a case of beer and walking around with a case of beer? Do gas stations get excluded from the open container areas? I don't know. There's still a lot that needs to go into that. My bigger concern is pedestrian safety, and along both New Peachtree Road, which is now a protected walking area with plants, but Beaufort Highway, where we've had a massive, the bulk of our pedestrian strikes have occurred along Beaufort Highway. So we really need to look at how that's going to work from a pedestrian standpoint. And I don't know that there's, I've been trying to think of some of the open container districts that I've been to, whether it's, Brave Stadium or other areas. And, they're all geographically bound a little bit tighter than this is. We would also need to work with MARTA for, public intoxication. People are going to get hammered and take MARTA home. That's the idea, right? But then, we just got to make sure that they're being safe about it. The Chambly. Yeah.
When you look at where the markers are,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe that they.
But it's not along Beaufort Highway.
I'm saying it's big.
It's big, but it's not. My concern is more the pedestrian safety along Beaufort Highway. I'd also like to see like the connection from at the northeast corner, or northeast corner, connecting down through our new ramp system down to Assembly. I think there's going to be some synergies there, and not that I want people walking along Motors Industrial in its current incarnation with a drink in their hand, but the idea of being able to connect these two areas, it's important. It's why we're working hard to get that ramp built. So I don't know what that looks like in the future either, but to me, it's all about pedestrian safety. So if we can solve that issue, the super block makes the most sense. If we can't figure out a way to easily and completely solve the safety issue, then I think the mayor's suggestion of keeping the container district limited to the immediate area around the park or, you know, the nearly immediate area around the new park would be great. And then having the entertainment area, you know, be extended out further, but the open container itself be narrower, just from a safety standpoint. But I do like the idea of, you know, enticing developers, you know, through a larger super block. And I'm happy. I'd love to see this extended all the way down to Asian Square if we could figure out internal methods where we're not getting people walking along streets. So if we can find some better, you know, internal connections that become safer, like the Chambly Rail Trail, where they're actually going through properties to connect areas as opposed to along highways or along major roads, then we can extend it out a little bit better. But I don't know that that's even possible back there. It's a very challenging area and very, very highly built out already. But that would be another alternative to look at how that connectivity extends within the site as opposed to along the edges of the site for a safety standpoint.
All right, Councilmember Coons.
Again, the super block makes the most sense. It's an easily defined boundary. And, you know, I'm not sure right now, like you said, the pedestrian safety thing on Beaufort Highway is a concern that, you know, possibly a slightly alternate map where that the Beaufort Highway boundaries like moved up one property away from Beaufort Highway. You know what I'm saying? Where it would be, yeah, like see how we've done that, but then extend it all the way over to Stewart Road and up into the Kaufman property and pick up the church and kind of a hybrid, like a little wider than that, but take out those properties along Beaufort Highway and being in the container district. And that would also, you know, we were going to have to figure out how to manage the, you know, ensuring that the beverages that someone is carrying came from somewhere where it was served rather than bought in a package, you know, package alcohol poured in a cup or something where somebody's going down to QT and buying 2 or 3 beers and pouring them in plastic cups and then they're walking around the container district. We don't, that's not the purpose of this. And I don't know whether it's, you know, wristbands or, you know, specific cups that have doorbell on them. I know that's a pain, but something that identifies that this drink came from a bar, not from, you know, the Quick Trip. The other thing though, is I do feel that we need to do something to incentivize that area between the Salvation Army and Stewart Road. And I don't know how many of you guys have like walked around back in that area and looked at it. It's like a no man's land of crazy stuff right now. And for our downtown to be developed in what we're hoping it will be, having these just random little car repair shops in a house and then, you know, just it's weird back there. And to be able to turn this into like an entertainment district where somebody could, you know, buy up some of these properties and build a big club there or build something that was, you know, a music venue or, you know, Eddie's Attic kind of thing, you know, or something cool. Having an entertainment district where we, you know, concentrate the bars and the things that don't require food sales to serve alcohol kind of a thing like we've talked about, putting them in this one area, I think might incentivize some of these properties to get redeveloped into something different ahead of our downtown. So yeah, that's kind of the direction I see this.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Simmons had something, then I'll go to you.
I have a question for Cecil on this, but on the Beaufort Highway thing, like whether we take it back a block or not, I mean, drunk people are still going to walk to it regardless, you know? Like, that's just my view on it. If you're drunk, you're not even thinking, and you're definitely going to, like the people that are at, not Resi, what's that, what's the grand opening place they just did? Yeah, Camino. That's going to be awesome for them, but they're still crossing Beaufort Highway to go back. But anyway, no, that, Cecil, can you legally, after you approve, if you don't know this, because this is fresh and new, if you make an entertainment district with an open container, can you also legally reduce that district after you approve one? Like, let's say we went with the super block, And then we're like, it's not working. We want to reduce it back or side. So some businesses that came in and built because of that. And then years later, we take that boundary off of them that affects their business. Can you legally do that?
Really interesting question. It's just whether they have a vested right in an
Right.
actual overlay district.
So that's
My gut
something to
tells
look
me
at.
then my gut tells me no, that it's not something that's specific to their property. So that's a really novel, interesting, good point. My gut tells me no, but let me reserve that I would be able to research that and make sure.
Yeah, I was sort of
I agree with myself.
serving it up to you to research because that
Will do.
probably would be a
An
good.
interesting question. I don't think it's a right that's specific in the property.
Okay.
So it's appended to it.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, I think there's two things regarding Buford Highway. I think there's a distinction between a drunk person walking along Buford Highway because they're going home or they're going to their car, and a drunk person being able to openly drink while walking along Buford Highway. One is something that the right has been granted to them by the city, and the other one is something that they chose to do after they've finished their alcohol. Like there's always going to be drunk pedestrians and drunk drivers and everything. But for us to legally allow people to be doing that openly is a very different thing. The properties along the southern end of Buford Highway, to talk about the hybrid model, those properties are quite deep, and they have the ability. We're building a new road on the backside of their properties for quite a number of them. They have the option to take their properties and flip their front doors or add a second front door. So there could be a hybrid model within the hybrid model that says, okay, redevelop your property. Like Shaking Crawfish makes sense. There's a whole parking lot in between, the building and the street. Oh, we're just going to put a side door that exits directly out onto the city center. Great. Okay. Now welcome to the open container district. Or if, the Monterey redevelops and they tear down the little building, they build a much bigger building that has two fronts, one off of Buford Highway. And well, that entrance wouldn't have, alcohol by right. But if you wanted to take your drink from the back porch, which is really the front porch now, because it's facing whatever that is, Road C or Road A or whatever that road's going to be called. And that may further entice developers to redevelop their properties as they then begin to face the redevelopment or have a two-faced sort of development. So I like the hybrid, potentially looking at a hybrid model. And then that solves some of my Buford Highway safety concerns, and then also still allows for an expansion of the footprint of the businesses. So that was.
Councilmember Ray has something.
Yeah. I guess two things. One, I do think, if someone's going to be like belligerently drunk in public, they're going to do that with or without an open container district. I do understand Councilmember Henshaw's concerns there, but I think there are going to be people who just are irresponsible, and then the majority of people will not. And I don't know that we want to punish everyone because of that. Secondly, I just realized I forgot to mention, I'm actually pretty intrigued by this idea of architectural guidelines. I'd like to see more examples. I'm a little wary of it being too strict and too limiting, but I do like the idea of trying to develop a cohesive feel throughout the city center and downtown area. So I think that would be great to look into and have at least some examples of cities that have done it. I know some have probably, I think, like Hilton Head is one that everything looks the exact same, and I think that's a little over the top. But in general, I do like the idea of trying to build in some sort of cohesiveness while not pulling away necessarily from the kind of cultural diversity we get from these restaurants. So that's going to be a very hard line to walk, but nobody else commented on it. I just wanted to put that out there. I think that's worth looking into.
It could be based on how the people's building looks.
Sure.
Maybe.
Councilmember Kuntz?
No, and I think something we could consider on this too is use this super block for like the entertainment district, and then as a starting point, have the town green be the open container district. They don't have to be the same thing. They can be one or the other, right?
Yeah.
You could have you could have like the super block be the entertainment district, but then have the open container district be like just the town green.
Yes, that is complicated, but yes.
But I'm just,
Well, the entertainment district is broader because it's really like you can have a nightclub, you could have this, you could have that. The open container is just where can you walk around outside from one place to
to
another.
another, and maybe start on the new town green when it opens up, and kind of get our feet wet figuring out the logistics on how to do that, so they're not just walking all over this area until we kind of figure out, hey, we need to have wristbands, so these cups aren't working, or figure that system out. but go ahead and get this entertainment district started so that some of these areas around the town center could potentially get redeveloped ahead of our, you know, town square. And like I said, this area over there off Stewart, you know, incentivize those property owners to like, hey, there's a higher value use for this property than having a car repair shop back here. And so, you know, maybe a hybrid of those two things would be, and this, I kind of like the architectural designs, but I don't want to turn this into an HOA. You know what I mean? Where and that could be part of this whole entertainment district, so.
I would like Councilmember-elect Nasser to also weigh in, especially since he'll be commenting on this in future iterations.
Thank you for the opportunity. I kind of align with Council Member Coons. You know, let's try with the entertainment district, right? Then based on that, see how it goes. Then we can expand it, more areas, see how it works. But I mean, I understand at the same time, drunk person is going to be drunk person. They don't have any barrier. They're just drunk. They're gonna go. They go walk over anywhere. But at the same time, I'm sure we have a great law enforcement, so they'll be able to take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilmember?
So with the super block, that seems to be in the general consensus. Mayor, does that address your concerns with some of the businesses to participate within the entertainment district that are within that super block radius?
No.
Right? That's fair.
There's no restaurants. I mean, there's like a couple of restaurants on the far side.
But the edge of Buford Highway, and maybe we need to outline this, is beginning edge of the sidewalk ends the district. Maybe there's some
It
signage
would be
or
wherever the private property line, private property ends and the public right of way begins on Beaver.
They couldn't be on the sidewalk, actually.
Right.
it'll be before that. Okay, so that maybe could help. At least there's clear definition from this is where it ends and begins.
Well, it would actually do what Councilmember Henshaw said, incentivize them to.
I think what Councilmember Henshaw said, great idea. It will incentivize them. They will open up in the back and then you're a block away. I think that's the best, personally, I think that's the best option.
And then speaking on the architectural guidelines, I think keeping it loose, but also maybe not to limit creativity. I know that's a concern. So just to give more context of, you just can't build anything. We have to have something in place that aligns with our people's building, a certain type of material or option of materials. Just want to make sure everybody's on board with that to even look into.
I guess I'll just say I'm not necessarily in favor. We already have a form-based code that kind of gives structure to what can be built. And I'm concerned that, you know, when I've seen the types of places that do that sort of architectural code, they're trying to evoke something deep in the past. You know, like usually it's like everything has to look like this type of Victorian cottage, or everything has to look like, you know, this brick, you know, downtown from 1860, whatever. And we don't have that. I mean, we have a lot of mid-century buildings that I think probably will get redeveloped at some point. And I think asking everyone to use the shiny white brick and curved lines that we're doing at the city, the People's Building, that's a heavy at the what?
What about like a percentage of brick, so it's not, the People's Building's brick, but this one's made of wood, this one's made of glass, and now it's.
I guess I will say I would rather give them the opportunity to do what they want rather than try to impose some look that I'm not sure we have a cohesive vision of what the look should. We're lucky we agreed on the People's Building.
Will.
So
That's the charm of Doraville, though. It's
yeah.
just like, let them do the thing.
I guess I'm personally in favor of allowing property owners to, you know, as long as it fits within our form-based code, which already has like some pretty significant requirements compared to other zoning codes.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull back and agree with the mayor on this. I think maybe just, that's getting too HOA-ish. We don't want to be like Helen, Georgia. While they were they were successful with their little Bavarian Village thing. We don't want to, get that whole weird vibe kind of going.
I just can't imagine what would we pick and then would future people regret that decision?
Okay.
Anything else? Go ahead.
We are a diverse community, so let's welcome everybody's vision. Whoever comes here with their type of vision as a business model, let's welcome everybody. Thank you.
I just want to add, I mean, I think the single most expensive and successful, if you count home values as a metric of success, is Ansley Park. And that is a massively hodgepodge area of eclectic design. And every house looks nothing like the house next to it. And it's so successful because, well, one, I mean, the people, obviously, they spend a lot of money in their houses, so they're very pretty. But the lack of architectural guidelines has allowed the expression to kind of blossom. And I've designed houses in Rosemary Beach and Watercolor, which also have their huge charm, but those type of districts only really work when you literally spend thousands of hours developing a very cohesive set of rules. And if you try to kind of half donkey it, trying to be nice tonight, it just doesn't, there's just, you really have to dive into the code and you really have to make it, restrictive isn't necessarily the word, but you have to be very thorough with what you're doing. Otherwise, it just doesn't work right. So, I mean, if we're really willing to go down that rabbit hole and say, yeah, we're going to spend $500,000 hiring some experts to design what our downtown needs to look like for the cohesive buildings, I think I'd be willing to look at it, but I feel like that might be a challenging. Yeah, it's just an expense that we shouldn't undertake. So, like, I let the eclectic craziness reign supreme, but the form-based code will kind of rein that in a little bit, as the mayor said. So,
any other comments? You have any other questions?
No, I think that addressed everything.
Anything that you've got questions on? All right, great. Well, we've made it through the public agenda. We will have a brief executive session and we will be closing out after council comments. So people who are here will be welcome to walk back in and we'll gavel out, but we are going to be turning off the feed after council comments. I have said a couple of times last week and earlier tonight, expressed my appreciation for Councilmember Kuntz. Steffi, I'll miss having you up here and wish you all the best. Thank you for everything. We'll go down this way and you'll have a chance to speak last. So Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to repeat some of the stuff I said earlier tonight at the party and maybe throw in some new stuff. It's kind of tough to know where to begin. I learned a lot about you tonight, just seeing some of your accomplishments. I moved to Doraville a little over 5 years ago and fell in love with it immediately. And since joining council and becoming more involved, it's pretty clear that that's in no small part because of what you've done to build momentum in the city. You helped encourage me to get involved. You helped encourage me while I was trying to run and feeling discouraged. Your determination and ability to go get training and apply that training and not take no for an answer on things that you know are important is quite inspiring. You've partnered with nonprofits. You brought art to Doraville. And I think through all of that, even in disagreements, you've treated people with respect and not given up on compromising, as you said. So I just want to say, I guess, that to me, you really embody what I believe local politics can be and what they mean to a community and why the idea of the American experiment has worked for so long. And I think in ways why it's not working so great right now. And I hope that, anyone watching this, anyone who meets you clearly picks up on it, but getting involved locally makes a huge difference. And I just want to thank you for all the effort you've put into this, for all the momentum you've built. And while you're leaving huge shoes to fill, hopefully collectively we can do our best to fill them up. So thank you very much for everything you've done, for inspiring me, for inspiring the many people who were here who had great stories about you, and for donating your time and efforts to making this such a great city to live in, and that will draw people to it for many years to come.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons.
Thanks, Mayor. Steffi, don't even know where to start. I mean, obviously, so much knowledge. I've learned a lot from you. You know, like what to do and what not to do. Definitely. And but like I mean the hardware shows it all. All the plaques and everything you got. I mean, that just explains exactly or embodies exactly your love for what you do here, your knowledge. And if I ever step down, I don't even think I'd get that one plaque. So that's awesome. Like I think the crazy thing that's not even mentioned that people should know is the amount of hours you have spent with GMA. Like you have, I forget what they call the award. What is it called with them? Yeah, distinction award, and that's how many hours? Yeah, dedication award.
Something.
200. Like that's ridiculous. I go every year to both meetings, like summer and winter, and I might have like 30 something hours, and it's been 3 years or something. So that shows the dedication Steffi puts in this, the passion, how much she loves it, and I appreciate that. And you know, I really applaud you for the bravery you did after hearing your story about our Joseph's story about coming in and you know, running for office and doing all this stuff. That's just awesome. You know, like hats off to you on that. So I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss Tuesday or Wednesday talks about what's coming up before a meeting. You know, you can still call me and talk. I'm still there. I mean, that, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do twice a month now before a meeting. But no, it's been fun. Love being up here with you and honored to actually be on the dais with you and greatly appreciate it all, Steffi.
Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. I echo all that. I think that you are so good at this. I've told you before, I think this is your calling. And it's really been an honor to be up here and watch you do such great things for the city and help me personally kind of find my voice up here. I appreciate all the time you've spent talking through issues with me. And just thank you. You'll be missed.
Thanks. Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, I wrote it down so I wouldn't ramble because I tend to ramble. Your strength and passion are undeniable, as is your obvious love for the city. I will miss your voice, your guidance, and your energy on the dais and your llama. I will miss using you as a sounding board and a collaborator. What I won't miss is your friendship and your mentorship because those things transcend your time away from the dais. And I'm going to miss you a lot. Thank you.
Councilmember Evans?
You have been an inspiration. It's been a pleasure to serve with you for over 5 years now, and you've opened many doors. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for encouraging me to do Leadership DeKalb, your recommendation there. And that was a game changer, just being more of a regional aspect. I'm at a loss for words, but it's been a pleasure sitting next to you for all this time and having our little private sidebars and really just knowing some under the table details of things. But I'm going to miss that. So please keep in touch. I'll definitely reach out to you as well. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. Thank you for everything you've done for the city.
Councilmember Kuntz?
Okay, so we didn't spend a lot of time talking about me tonight, but I just one of the things I want people to be aware of, and this is something that was I learned from State Senator Sally Harold before I sat first night on the dais. She said, you need to get a card in front of you that reminds you of what your core values are on every vote you make. And I just wanted to read this card that's been sitting in front of me the whole time. And it says, a positive role of government. A strong government is a counterbalance of special interest, assuring that an economy based on maximizing profits doesn't trample basic human rights and needs. That's why government's here. We got a capitalist society. The government's here to make sure that this form of society doesn't trample on people's basic human rights. Social justice, a belief that a civilized and human society ensures that its weaker and poorer members are treated fairly. We also must use our privilege, if we're not part of that community, to speak up for and protect those who have no voice. And that's something we all need to do as leaders. And this is the last one that, to me, and especially in Doraville, is really important. Inclusiveness, a desire to extend our community beyond people like ourselves by forming a culture where everyone feels included and their ideas are valued. Creating this environment must be seen as intentional and ongoing process. This never ends. Being inclusive, it's an act. And I love that our park t-shirts said that at some point. I think inclusion was an act, diversity is a fact, inclusion is an act. That is so true. And then finally, got this card that says, Doraville is my happy place. This is where I'm happy. I love this city. And someone else gave me this little button that just says, be kind. And that's, part of what we did with this city of civility. I think I've said this before. There's probably half the cities in Georgia that can't agree to pass a civility resolution, that we agree to be civil with each other. And I think it's one of the reasons this city is just taken off is we're civil with each other. We may not agree with each other, but we're not up here throwing rocks at each other, and we're being nice to each other. And developers see that. And when they see a bunch of crazy people, they're like, we're not going to go, spend money in a city where people are acting crazy when they come before us and we don't know whether we're going to get something passed or not. And the fact that we're reasonable and we give good reasons when we deny something, we deny it for very good reasons. And then the last one is my little llama buddy's been up here since I got sworn in to remind me to just not take things too serious. And when things start feeling too overwhelming, just look at the llama and smile. And I'm taking all these guys home with me tonight, and I'm going to take my little patch home with me. And it's been the biggest honor of my life to serve the city in this capacity. And I just am so excited about this future of the city, and let's go Doraville. That's it.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding going into executive session to discuss personnel, litigation, real estate, and cybersecurity?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Great. Thank you all. Let's stay here.
Okay.